If your wife stops respecting you, the marriage is already halfway dead. And the scariest part is she will not even tell you that it's happening. She's not going to sit you down and say she's lost respect. She'll say that things are fine. You're only going to see the truth in her behavior. That is the harsh truth your wife will not tell you. In this video, I'm going to show you the hidden signs that she is losing respect, the silent killers that cause it, the domino effect that follows, and the uncomfortable step you have to take if you want to turn it around before it's too late. The last point I share is the hardest to hear, but it is the one that decides whether you can save your marriage or not. If you're new here, my name is John DeBach. I help men build the kind of relationships they actually want and not the ones that they just settle for. I'm not selling you anything in this video. This is just free information because I've seen too many men get blindsided when respect slipped away and they didn't notice until it was almost gone. By the way, I've built over 1 million followers on social media from zero in the last year. I've been a couples counselor and relationship coach for almost 15 years. I'm a published author. I've appeared on national TV a bunch of times, and I've been married for a decade and a half and have 4 kids. And unlike a lot of voices online, I live what I teach. I don't just talk about relationships, I practice it every single day in my own home. Now, here is the harsh truth that most men don't want to face. Respect is more important than love in a marriage. She can love you and still leave if she doesn't respect you. She can love you and still fantasize about a different life if she doesn't respect you. Love without respect turns into pity, then into quiet contempt. Respect is oxygen. Without it, the relationship suffocates. And she will not announce that the oxygen is running out. She's going to simply start acting differently while telling you everything is fine. So, what are the silent killers that eat respect without saying a word? The first one is when she starts to feel like your mom. If your wife has to remind you 5 times to take the trash out, she's not your partner, she's your mom. If she must manage the calendar because you refuse to, she's your mom. If she has to nag you about bills or ask 3 times if you handled the repair or keep track of your own comments because you do not, she has kind of become your mom. I had a client once whose wife said, "I already have 3 kids. I don't want a 4th." That line isn't a joke. It's a verdict. It means you've slipped from man to boy in her mind. Once she puts you in that category, the attraction falls off a cliff. It's a crash and burn. She might still be kind. She might still be polite. She might still share a bed. But desire is going to vanish because she can't desire the teenager that she feels she has to babysit. A lot of men hear this and get defensive. They say they work hard. They say they provide. Providing is important, okay? But if you are a high performer in business and a low performer at home, she sees the truth. She sees that you're capable of discipline and responsibility with your boss or your clients, but you choose not to bring that same energy to your marriage. That choice tells her where she ranks. And when she feels like your mom, she starts speaking to you like your mother. You're going to hear more reminders, more sighs, more lists, more corrections. Some of you are living in that dynamic right now, and you can feel the tone shift. You can feel your spine shrinking a little every time she nags, because part of you knows she's only nagging to keep the house from falling apart. So here's how you break it. You become more reliable than any reminder. You set alarms and you do the task before she speaks. You take full ownership of entire domains. You say, groceries are mine, finances are mine. Morning with the kids on Tuesdays and Thursdays, those are mine too. You don't wait for her to tell you what to do inside those domains. You create the plan. You run the plan. You report outcomes. You do this for a month and watch how the tone changes. I had a client who took the entire morning routine off his wife's plate 3 days a week. No warnings, no speeches. He just did it. 2 weeks, the nagging stopped. 2 weeks. In 4 weeks, her touch came back. She didn't respect words. She respected weight carried without being asked. And if you're finding this helpful so far, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. It tells me to keep making videos just like this, and it helps other men who need this message find it here on the platform. Now, the second silent killer is lost attraction. And I'm not only talking about sex, though sex is where it shows up the loudest. I'm talking about the micro signals that say she wants you, the way she looks at you, the way she touches your arm when she just walks casually by, the way she laughs at your jokes, the way she lingers in the doorway when you're working. When respect is strong, those signals are natural. She leans towards you. When respect slips, those signals dry up. She avoids your eyes. She keeps her body angled away. She stops reaching for you in small ways and large ways. You still live together. You still share a calendar. You may still share a bed, but you feel the empty space between the two of you. A client told me she lies next to me, but it feels like she's a million miles away. And that's not only about hormones or stress. Often, it's about respect. You cannot shame or bargain your way into attraction. Attraction sits on the foundation of respect. If the foundation's cracked, the structure above will creak and crumble. It's just a matter of time. Lost attraction also shows up in the stories she tells about you. In the beginning, she would tell friends how proud she was of you. And over time, those stories turn into complaints. They're small at first. He never picks a restaurant. He always forgets the thing I asked. He's sweet, but he's not very decisive. And these comments may be delivered with a smile, but they carry a message. She wants you to lead. She wants you to hold a boundary. She wants you to show strength. And when you don't, she slowly rewrites how she sees you. If you let that rewrite continue, you're going to wake up one day as the safe but sexless option, the dependable but dull roommate, the nice man she stopped wanting years ago. The third silent killer is the absence of leadership. Now, leadership in a marriage is not about control. It's not about barking orders. It's not about silencing your wife's voice. Real leadership is about direction, clarity, ownership. It's about making decisions where it's your responsibility to decide. It's about seeking input where it's shared and then moving decisively. If you don't lead in your lane, she will try to lead everything. She will do it because someone has to, right? But she's going to carry the mental load and the emotional load and the logistical load, and then she's going to resent you. She's going to resent you for letting her do it. She may not even do it well because she's exhausted, and she will resent you for that too. I had a client who avoided conflict so completely that his wife was left to set every boundary with extended family. He would tell her privately he agreed with her, and then he would fold in front of his own parents. And his wife stopped trusting him. She said, "I feel like I'm the only adult." He thought being easygoing was kindness. She saw it as abdication. When he finally took ownership of that boundary and respectfully held it in front of his parents, she cried in the car afterward, not because she was angry, because she felt a sense of relief. She felt safe again. Safety is knowing the man next to you will do the hard thing when it's time to do the hard thing. That safety breeds respect, and that respect fuels attraction. Now, let us map the domino effect. When respect starts to slip, the first domino that falls is intimacy. She doesn't crave you. She avoids sexual energy. You try to negotiate for touch. You promise more chores, more dates, more compliments if she'll just be affectionate. That negotiation kills the little attraction that remained because it makes you look like a salesman trying to meet a quota. I'm not saying you don't help or you don't date your wife. You do both. I'm saying don't trade. Build respect first. The body follows the brain. If her brain doesn't respect you, her body is not going to relax for you. The second domino is emotional distance. She stops bringing you her inner world. She might still talk about logistics, but the vulnerable parts of her day go to a friend, or maybe they go nowhere. You feel it when you ask how she is, and you get the answer, fine, in that flat tone, fine, fine, fine. We all heard it, right? You feel it when you share something meaningful, and she doesn't engage. If you push for closeness from a position of weakness, she pulls away further. She doesn't want you to fix her. She wants you to be sturdy enough that she can lean without both of you collapsing under that weight. And the third domino is the quiet fantasy of an exit. She doesn't need to cheat on you to leave you. She can leave with her mind. She can start picturing a life where she doesn't remind anyone to do anything. She can imagine a home where she feels feminine because someone else carries the load. She's not going to tell you about this fantasy. What she will do is show up to birthdays. She'll sit next to you at dinner. But secretly, she's planning a future that does not include your leadership, or she's at least imagining a different man who has it. And by the time she's living there in her head, you're fighting for scraps. I had a client who got divorce papers literally out of nowhere. He said there were no warning signs. There were signs. He just refused to see them because they were quiet. Fewer glances, fewer touches, fewer questions. More sighs, more lists, more reminders. That was the whole story. And he didn't want to read it. So what is the wake-up call? You can't beg your way back into respect. You can't buy your way back with trips and gifts. You can't talk your way back with long speeches. You have to act your way back. And here is the order. First, stand up for your needs. Speak them clearly, calmly, and without apology. I need partnership in parenting. I need real intimacy. I need you to stop correcting me in front of my friends. I need a weekly meeting where we plan the calendar or the budget. You're not asking for permission. You're declaring what is required for a healthy marriage. Not a perfect one, a healthy one. Don't shout, don't plead. Speak like a man who believes his needs matter, because they do. Second, rebuild boundaries. Decide exactly what is not acceptable and what action you will take if it happens. You don't need a long speech. You need a clean line and a consequence you will actually apply. If you mock me in front of others, I will leave the event. If you interrupt me when I'm speaking about something important, I will pause and come back to the conversation when we can both listen. If you dismiss my needs, I will end the conversation and we will pick it up during our weekly meeting. The key is follow through. Boundaries without follow through are just decorations. Boundaries with follow through are law. I had a client who finally said, I will not be corrected in public. The next time it happened, he stood up, thanked the host, and said, we're heading out. He didn't slam doors. He didn't argue in front of people. He just left. And guess what? It never happened again. Third, use physical separation as a reset when necessary. Okay? Not all the time, just when necessary. Because sometimes words aren't enough to signal that the old dynamic is over. Sometimes you do need the silence of an empty bed and an empty chair to really make your point. You spend a night at a friend's place. You book a hotel room. Not as punishment, not as drama, but as clarity. You're saying, I will not live in disrespect. I will not pretend that this is fine. I had a client who packed a bag in front of his wife after a calm conversation. He said, I love you and I want this to work, but I'm not staying in this pattern. I will be at a hotel. We're going to talk tomorrow at 5 p.m. And he left. No yelling, no blame. That night she called him crying, not because of fear, but because the fog lifted. She understood he was done negotiating for basic respect. That was the first night of their new marriage. They still had work to do, but they finally started the work instead of kicking the can down the road. Fourth, take back leadership in your lane. Pick domains and own them end to end. Meals and groceries, budget and bills, mornings with the kids, homework oversight, home maintenance, weekend planning. Don't wait for her to hand you a list. Design the system. Put it on the calendar. Execute. Report results. When you fail, take responsibility without excuse and then fix it. Reliability is hot. Reliability is safe. Reliability is respected. I had a different client who built a Sunday night meeting with an agenda and a 15-minute cap. They looked at the calendar, the budget, and the top 3 household tasks for the week. He ran the meeting with a timer. He then sent a 2-line summary afterwards, and in 6 weeks, the tone of the house changed because leadership showed up. He didn't tell his wife to be more feminine. He created the conditions where she could relax, and her feminine energy showed up on its own. Fifth, upgrade your personal standards. Respect follows self-respect. If you live like a man you wouldn't follow, don't be surprised when she stops following you. Clean up your health. Get strong enough to carry your day without complaining. Fix your sleep. Stop hiding in your phone at night. Learn to say no without guilt. Keep your promises to her and to yourself. Be on time. Be early. Be the man who shows up when he says he will show up. Now, none of this is glamorous. All of it is respected. When you live by standards, everyone can feel it. And she's going to test it. That's normal. She wants to know your standards are real. Pass the test without anger. Pass it with consistency. Sixth, be willing to walk away if nothing changes. This is the part no one wants to hear. You can stand up, you can build boundaries, you can spend a night away to reset the dynamic. You can lead in your lane, you can upgrade your standards. If she refuses to engage, if she refuses to meet you halfway, if she refuses to stop contempt while you're doing the work, you can't stay and beg. Begging destroys respect faster than anything else. Walking away is not punishment, it's protection. It's you saying, I'm not going to abandon myself to keep a peace that doesn't exist. I had a client who finally said, if nothing changes by the end of the month, I'm moving out. She laughed. He moved out. 2 weeks later, she asked for counseling and owned her part. They rebuilt. But even if she didn't, he was free. He had his dignity, and that dignity became the foundation for every relationship decision that followed. Let me give you a story that ties all of this together. Man comes to me and says his wife is cold. She corrects him in front of his friends. She doesn't listen when he talks. She's not initiated affection in a whole year. Now he wants a trick. He wants a sentence that will flip a switch. There is no trick. There's only the man you become. We list 3 needs he's going to express. He practices saying them calmly. We list 3 boundaries he will hold with actions that he will take when they're crossed. He schedules a weekly meeting and designs the agenda. He picks 2 domains to own. He sets his wake-up time, his training time, and his bedtime and keeps them for a month. He commits to no negotiation for touch. He commits to 1 real date each week that he plans and pays for. Week 1, she rolls her eyes. He stays calm. Week 2, she tests a boundary in public. He leaves the event quietly. Week 3, he sleeps at a hotel after a disrespectful blow-up and texts the time to talk the next day. Week 4, she asks him what he needs to feel close. Week 5, she reaches for his hand in the kitchen while they talk about the calendar. Week 6, intimacy returns without a single bargain or plea. Now, what changed? He did. He became the man who's easy to respect, and she felt it. Respect came back. Desire followed respect like spring follows winter. And here's the dare I want you to take tonight. Sit alone with a notebook, write down the sentence, my wife respects me, and then circle it. Then write 2 columns. In the first column, write the behaviors that build that sentence. And in the second column, write the behaviors that contradict it. Be honest. Don't write what you wish were true. Write what is true. Then pick 3 actions from the first column and start them tomorrow. Pick 3 from the second column and kill them tomorrow. Do this for 30 days. If she's a good woman who still cares, you're going to see the tone shift. And if she refuses to respond, you still have your self-respect. And that will guide your next move. The harsh truth your wife will not tell you is simple. She's losing respect for you, and she's not going to say it to your face. She'll show you in 100 small ways. In the way she reminds you like a child. In the way she avoids your eyes. In the way she corrects you in front of people. In the way her body turns to stone when you ask for touch. Don't argue with the signals. Respond to them. Stand up for your needs. Rebuild your boundaries. Use a night away in a hotel or at a friend's place to reset the dynamic when the words aren't enough. Lead in your lane. Upgrade your standards. And if nothing changes, walk with your head held high. This isn't cruelty. This is clarity. That is how you save a marriage that can be saved, and how you save yourself when it can't. If you do want to work with me, I have a very private and exclusive men's group where we dive into your issues one-on-one. And if you're interested, the info is in the description below.